So what we can see here is a large group of illegal migrants being shepherded onto a public bus. French police, as you can see, are present and they are heading towards embarkation points where illegal crossings of the channel will happen very shortly. These people are going to probably be at a hotel somewhere near you soon. This is a symptom of the complete inactivity by French law enforcement, and it's a symptom of the Labour government's total loss of border control. It's happening right now, right behind me.
That's what Chris Philp MP captured today in the north of France. If what he is saying is true, that the French police are literally helping the migrants get to Britain by giving them free bus rides from their camps to the points where they can catch a boat, that is insane, especially how much the British taxpayer has forked out to give to the French to stop the migrants from coming. He tweeted this video alongside the text, "I just found French police actively facilitating illegal immigration. The officers, likely UK funded, are ushering illegal immigrants onto a public bus to take them towards boat embarkation points." Absolutely shocking if this is true. But wait until you see Nigel Farage's response to Chris Philp's video and tweet. But before we get to Nigel Farage's shocking response, I just want to show you some more footage of what Chris Philp captured in northern France today.
So it's now just before 7 o'clock. Dawn has broken.
No police.
You can see this enormous beach has now been exposed.
Not a single police
tide,
officer.
A beach from which many embarkations have occurred, including, I think, last night or yesterday rather. No sign of any French police presence on this beach. Obviously, you can...
Nope, none at all. And let's take a look at some other footage, including where Chris Philp nearly ends up getting attacked with a knife and broken bottles being thrown at him.
So we've just arrived at the migrant camp at Grand Centre, just near Dunkirk. The group here, we've just spoken to them, said hello. They're from Eritrea, planning to cross the English Channel. You can see the conditions they're living in here. What, of course, they should be doing if they need help is claiming asylum here in France. It's a safe country. The French asylum system is working. No one should be living in conditions like this. The French government should frankly be taking much better care of the people here, and they should be making their asylum claim if they want to make one here in France. So let's go and see if we can talk to some of the people here.
First of all, it's crazy that the French don't get any flack whatsoever for them living in these absolutely disgusting camps. Meanwhile, we have idiots here in Britain saying that the hotels that they're put in aren't fancy enough.
Got a full bag of life jackets.
Yeah, okay. Go. Hiya. Have you got some life jackets? Life jackets in there?
It's a whole
you've got
operation.
some life jackets. What are those for? How come you've got life jackets there?
Won't talk.
Wouldn't tell me. I think we know why.
Chris, we just had a guy walk behind us with a rather large knife.
You need to go.
So we probably need to
Okay.
Yeah, and at the end of that, I mean, obviously we had to leave quickly because someone pulled a knife.
I found it pretty shocking.
They had a knife pulled on them whilst trying to film in one of these camps. I've been in one of the camps in Calais, and we had to swiftly leave when suddenly some very dodgy gangsters turned up when they got word that we were filming there. They are very treacherous places.
Yeah, we're talking to that guy. Didn't want to show us his face, and I was concentrating on that. And then you said that behind me somebody had walked past and pulled out some kind of machete. So yeah, we left pretty quickly.
Swinging it around in the air like that. I mean, it was clearly he was doing it to send a message to the other people. Yeah, to the other people there. So whether it was a case of don't speak. I mean, the other thing that I would just...
Yeah, when I was in those camps in Calais, most of them were absolutely terrified to speak, because what will happen is the mafia, the smugglers, if they see that you have spoken to the media and told them about their operation and what is happening there, they will then block you from getting on a boat. They will jeopardise your ability to get to Britain. So most of them are terrified to speak, and that was probably one of the smugglers there waving that knife.
Point out is, we spoke to the one gentleman there. There was another couple of guys that we saw that were carrying brand new life jackets. Yeah. They refused to answer any real questions about that. I mean, the guy gave you a story about that he was from Afghanistan.
So quite clearly, they're planning to cross the channel illegally. And I said to him, that's illegal. And he said, I don't care. I mean, he was completely up.
Well, right,
okay, let's go. We've got to go. There's the
that was broken bottles being thrown.
Dunkirk, where food and other things are being handed out to the migrants who are here waiting to cross illegally into the UK, coming to a hotel near you soon.
Yeah, so it's a huge operation in northern France in places like Calais and Dunkirk. These charities like Care for Calais, various other ones, who are there. They have big warehouses that they operate from where they cook up all the meals and provide lots of aid and help for the people who are in these migrant camps. Very controversial operation. Some people would say that they are helping them get to Britain. If you speak to people who work in these camps, they typically say, it's not their fault that they're having to leave. France. They might be endangered in France. They might be, have had issues with the police being racist and beating up migrants in France. There are various reasons why people will leave France, and I think that's often complicated. But it's quite controversial, isn't it? Not only have you got the French police, it looks like, helping them get on to these buses to take them to the points to get on the water and get to Britain, but you've also got a huge operation of these charities giving them, lots of aid, lots of food, lots of water, and all sorts for their stay in Calais or Dunkirk or wherever else in the north of France whilst they are waiting to cross. Do you think that's right? Let me know in the comments below. But what you've all been waiting for, let's take a look at what Nigel Farage had to say in response to this tweet by Chris Philp. Chris Philp, as you will know, is a Tory MP, and a lot of people will say, oh, it's great, Chris Philp, you're doing all this content for us, but isn't it a bit rich? You standing there blaming Labour and saying the government needs to sort this out when you were a Tory MP and the Tories did nothing about it. Nigel Farage tweeted, do keep up, Chris Philp. This was exposed 2.5 years ago while you were still a Home Office minister. What did your party do about it then? I think we know. They did nothing. And Nigel Farage has shown that this was exposed 2.5 years ago with this old clip of him from GB News. Let's take a look at this.
And Sue, you've been back across the channel towards Dunkirk, Calais. What have you discovered about the French efforts to help us?
Well, I've found absolutely the opposite happening. I've found what I think is probably the biggest scandal yet. Last November, we gave £63 million to the French to beef up border controls. They, in the last 4 years, have spent £52 million on free buses, which I've discovered are carrying thousands of migrants from their camp to the beaches.
Free buses?
Free buses.
So you can get on a bus in northern France for free?
Yes, in Dunkirk.
Yep.
It's like a pioneer city for free bus travel. But they're not sticking in Dunkirk. They're going 11 miles one way and 4 miles the other. In other words, to the very beaches. They can take the migrants to the very beaches that we're paying the French to patrol.
So you don't need to show a French ID card to get on the bus?
You just climb on, and I did it 10 days ago.
And we're showing pictures we're showing pictures of this as we're talking. So you get on this bus, and it's full of predominantly young men, and they're coming.
99%. There was perhaps one French lady with a baguette in her shopping bag, a couple of school students, and me. Everyone else, it was often a young male migrant, Afghani, and Iraqi, maybe a few Indian. Mm-hmm. Literally, every seat was taken on both occasions. I did the journey, and one was 38 stops. I got the last seat. So
we're literally, or the French are literally, busing them from the camps. From the camp in Grand-Synth, in Dunkirk, straight to the beaches, where they then take our money to patrol the beaches. But even more phenomenally, when they caught them, we watched them and photographed them catching one lot on the beach. What did they do with them? They put them on the return free bus service back to their camp in Dunkirk. So they could start again. So they can come back the next day? Well, the next evening, in an hour's time. These buses are going round like every 10 minutes.
That is absolutely crazy. So there you have two different people seeing and telling us about the French busing migrants to the beaches where they can catch the boats. First person, I would have said I'll take that with a pinch of salt, but now two people, that lady from the Daily Mail 2.5 years ago, and now Chris Philp today, I think that is strong evidence that the French are doing this. And I'll tell you why I believe it. Because when I was in France, I'll tell you what I saw. I spoke to one migrant I asked, why won't you claim asylum in France? France is a safe country. Why won't you claim asylum in France? And they said, I'd love to claim asylum in France, but I can't because I've been given a letter by the French. They were calling these deportation letters, except you don't have any deportation flight or train to go anywhere. But they were being given these letters saying, you cannot claim asylum here. You have 7 days to leave the country, get out. They didn't even give them the option to try and claim asylum, get rejected, and then be kicked out. They just said, nope, off you go. And I said, does the letter give any explanation as to why you have to leave? And they said, no. And I thought, that's very strange. That sounds fishy to me. Maybe this is a criminal on the run. But then I spoke to a different migrant who told me the same thing. And I think I spoke to 3 different migrants in 3 completely separate conversations who all told me the same thing about this letter that was given to them by the French saying, you have 7 days to leave, go figure. If you are given a letter like that, these migrants think, well, I have no choice but to get on a lorry or a boat because the French aren't giving me a deportation flight to somewhere. They're just telling me I have to find a way to get out. What do you expect them to do? That, to me, seemed like the French were literally forcing them onto the boats and onto the lorries because they don't want to deal with them. They want them to be Britain's problem. Anyway, I'm Chloe Dobbs. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below for more news updates as well as the notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on anything important. See you next time.